You're here again, not just in the physical presence of another person, but in that same emotional terrain. Familiar, though you swore you'd never walk it again. It begins subtly. A look, a tone, a fleeting dismissal that feels too sharp for its context. Your chest tightens just a little. You breathe through it. You tell yourself it's nothing. But you know this place. You've known it since childhood. The setting changes, the characters change, but the scene remains eerily the same. Unmet needs, unspoken fears, and the slow unfolding of a dynamic that feels hauntingly scripted. Why do you keep ending up here? The face is new, the voice unfamiliar, yet the experience is old. As if some ancient pattern plays itself out again, demanding your attention, then your submission. You are not free, not entirely. Something in you is choosing this. But what? And why? Carl Jung proposed that the psyche is not a blank slate, but a landscape filled with inherited structures, archetypes, and unresolved psychic material. What repeats in your outer life is often a mirror of your inner one. If you do not become aware of the unconscious patterns within you, they will appear outside you as fate. Not because the world is cruel, but because the psyche seeks completion. The first step to breaking this circle is not action, but recognition. Until you can name what is happening, you are inside the play, acting out a role written long before you could speak. Perhaps you play the caretaker, giving too much and silently aching when it's not reciprocated. Or the avoidant one, pushing people away to avoid the shame of needing them. Or the chaser, always pursuing the emotionally distant, reliving the rejection you knew all too well in your early years. Each of these roles is not who you are. They are responses, reflexes shaped by wounds, etched into your nervous system, your memory, your unconscious mind. They are brilliant adaptations that once kept you safe. But now they keep you stuck, and the more unaware you are of them, the more power they hold. You do not return to the same pattern by accident. You return because the psyche is attempting to resolve something, to complete something, like a dream that recurs until you finally understand its message. Your relationships repeat until you wake up. But to awaken is not easy. It is not the glamorous work of instant transformation. It is slow, humbling, often painful. You must look not at the other person, but at yourself. Not in judgment, but in curiosity. Why does this feel familiar? Where have I felt this before? What does this remind me of? These are the questions that part the veil. And slowly you begin to see, this is not about them. It never really was. They are mirrors, yes, but it is your reflection you must learn to face. The repeating circle is not your punishment. It is your invitation. Your chance to return to the original wound, but this time with consciousness, with compassion, with the adult presence you never had as a child. In that return, something powerful becomes possible. You do not have to keep repeating, but you do have to keep looking. Deeply, gently, relentlessly. There is no shortcut, only the path through. And it begins always with awareness. You are here again, but maybe for the first time, you are awake. At the core of your emotional life, deep within the unseen chambers of your psyche, live two archetypal figures, the anima and the animus. These are not mere fantasies or vague ideas. They are powerful projections of your inner world, the feminine and masculine essences living inside you. Whether you are a man or a woman, these figures shape the way you relate to others, especially in love and relationships. If you are a man, your anima is the inner feminine image, a soul figure that silently whispers your emotional truths. She is the dream you carry, the voice that colors your ideal of womanhood. She is not simply a person, but a complex constellation of feelings, memories, desires, and shadows. She manifests in your relationships, projected onto the women you meet, your partner, your mother, your friend, sometimes as a healer, sometimes as a tormentor, sometimes as a muse. If you are a woman, your animus is the inner masculine presence, the silent strength, the voice of authority and power within you. It is the figure you unconsciously animate in the men around you. Your animus shapes the way you interpret masculinity, protection, assertiveness, and even conflict. Sometimes it appears as the ideal lover or protector, sometimes as the critic or the enforcer. These inner figures are archetypes, universal patterns residing in the collective unconscious, as described by Carl Jung. But more importantly, they are deeply personal, shaped by your early experiences, your culture, your family, and your own psyche. They live inside you, waiting to be recognized and integrated, or else they remain shadows, distorting your perception of reality. Projection is their language. You do not meet a person, you meet a reflection of your anima or animus. You see not the real person, but the image cast by your inner world. This is why relationships often feel like déjà vu. You are not falling in love with a new person, but remembering an old story, a familiar pattern scripted long ago. When you meet someone new, your unconscious mind instantly scans for the shape of your anima or animus. It projects your hopes, fears, and unmet needs onto that person. Suddenly, they are the mother who will finally nurture you, the father who will protect you, the savior who will rescue you, the demon who will punish you, or the perfect soulmate who will complete you. The person themselves recedes into the background, lost behind the shadows you cast. This is the paradox of love. You think you love a person, but you are actually re-experiencing your own inner landscape. You are not falling in love, you are remembering. Every we is actually I and my shadow. The shadow here is not just the dark or negative parts of yourself. It is the entire unconscious content you have not integrated. Your anima and animus are part of this shadow, parts of you that live unseen and unacknowledged. This explains why relationships can feel so painful and confusing. You think you are choosing a partner freely, but often you are unconsciously reenacting a play written by your psyche long ago. The lover you fall for is a mirror of your deepest wounds and desires, a projection of your own lost or unfulfilled parts. This dynamic can feel like a trap. You may wonder why, time and again, you encounter similar patterns, the same types of partners, the same cycles of heartbreak and hope, the same conflicts and misunderstandings. It is because your anima or animus continues to operate behind the scenes, pushing you to confront what you have not yet seen in yourself. To love truly, you must first see your projections clearly. You must recognize that the person before you is a real, complex human being, not an image conjured by your unconscious. This is no easy task, for your projections are deeply entrenched, and your psyche fiercely protects them. When you begin to see your anima or animus as they truly are, as parts of yourself rather than external saviors or villains, a profound shift happens. The old stories lose their power. You stop seeking in others what only you can give yourself. You learn to hold your inner feminine and masculine energies in balance, to integrate their gifts and shadows. This process of integration is the foundation of authentic love, love that is no longer projection or fantasy, but a meeting of two whole, conscious individuals. It is a love grounded not in need or illusion, but in presence, respect, and mutual recognition. Until then, every new relationship is a journey through the past, a reenactment of old patterns, a dance with your shadow selves. You may call it love, but it is remembering. In every toxic cycle, in every repeated heartbreak or clash, there lies a hidden story, a script written long before, etched deep inside your psyche. This script is authored by what psychologists call a complex. It is a cluster of emotions, memories, and beliefs organized around a wound, often formed in early life. Complexes are living echoes of pain, betrayal, rejection, and loss that refuse to fade quietly. You return to these painful places not because you are weak or broken. You return because, deep down, you are searching for something unfinished, a healing that has not yet been granted, a love that was denied or withheld. Imagine a scene you have played before, over and over again, on the stage of your relationships. Each time, the actors and costumes change, but the storyline remains the same. You are abandoned, unseen, or misunderstood. You enter this cycle hoping for a different ending, hoping this time the wound will finally close, that you will be loved properly, fully, without conditions. But the mind, the psyche, like a relentless alchemist, does not allow you to skip the necessary steps. To heal a wound, you must first touch it again, feel its sting, bring it to the surface. That is why you unconsciously recreate the very pain you want to avoid. This is not a punishment. It is a call for integration. Complexes are autonomous islands within you, alive and independent in their demands and reactions. They operate without your conscious permission. You may tell yourself, I don't want to feel this, or I won't go there again. Yet somehow, before you realize it, you find yourself once more inside the same old pattern. They pull the strings behind your decisions, color your perceptions, and shape your emotions. You enter a relationship, and suddenly old fears rise up. Fear of abandonment, fear of betrayal, fear of not being enough. You try to be different, to break the cycle, but the complex activates and the familiar drama unfolds. This internal patterning is why mere willpower rarely works. You can resolve to change, but complexes have a momentum of their own, forged by years or even decades of unresolved pain. To understand this, it helps to think of the psyche as a complex system of parts, some conscious, some unconscious. Complexes are like subpersonalities or mini-agents inside you, each with its own agenda. They protect you, but also imprison you. They hold your pain, but also keep you stuck in it. Recognizing the presence of complexes is the first step toward freedom. You begin to see that the painful reactions are not really you, not your conscious self, but these hidden parts reacting to old wounds. This insight opens the door to compassion. Instead of fighting or rejecting these parts, you start listening to them, understanding their messages. Why did this complex form? What was the original pain or trauma it is trying to keep you safe from? Who or what was missing when you needed support? Answering these questions requires courage and patience. It often means revisiting uncomfortable memories and emotions, but it is also the path toward wholeness. The work with complexes is not about eliminating pain by force. It is about completing the story, providing the care, the recognition, and the love that were absent before. When this inner healing happens, the complex loses its power to control you. Its energy is transformed and integrated. This transformation changes how you relate to yourself and others. You no longer unconsciously replay old scripts. You become the author of new narratives, conscious, creative, and life-affirming. In relationships, this means you stop expecting others to fix or complete you. You stop reacting from old wounds. You begin to choose partners and actions from a place of awareness and self-love. Complexes can be challenging companions on this journey. They may resist change, cause setbacks, or provoke confusion. But they are not enemies. They are parts of you, trying to survive, trying to be seen. Healing the complex is a journey of reunion, between your wounded self and your conscious self, between pain and love, between shadow and light. There is no savior waiting in the wings to rescue you. No perfect partner who will fix your broken pieces and complete you. There is only you and your shadow. The path to freedom does not run toward someone else, it runs inward. It is a journey not toward an idealized love, but toward wholeness. Freedom begins when you see your projections for what they truly are. When you recognize the anima and animus not as external rescuers or tormentors, but as parts of your own psyche, your own inner feminine and masculine energies. When you learn to identify the complexes that pull you into pain and stop merging with them. To be free is to be present in yourself, not lost in illusions or old scripts. To choose consciously, not to repeat, but to create. Love then is no longer an escape, a remedy, or an anesthetic for your pain. It becomes a mature power, a force you give, not a need you demand. This path is neither quick nor easy. It asks for honesty, courage, and relentless self-awareness. Integrating the shadow, your hidden, rejected parts, is not a heroic act of strength. It is an act of love toward yourself. It means sitting with discomfort, facing the parts of you that you may have denied or feared. It means forgiving yourself for mistakes, for weaknesses, for the wounds you carry. It means embracing all of yourself, light and dark alike. Working on yourself is not a flight from relationships. It is the foundation for their authenticity. Only when you are whole can you be truly close to another. Responsibility here is not punishment. It is freedom. Responsibility for your emotions, your choices, your healing. Freedom from blaming, from victimhood, from repeating old patterns. You become the author of your own story. Not a passive player, but an active creator. Along this path, you cultivate discernment. You learn to see others clearly, not through the lens of your projections, but with clarity and empathy. You learn to set boundaries, to choose partners who meet you as an equal, to nurture relationships that allow both to grow. This path leads you to a new kind of love, a love that is not desperate or clinging, but free and generous. A love that accepts imperfection and embraces reality. A love that celebrates growth and transformation. Freedom is the space where love can breathe. It is the soil in which true intimacy can grow. And it is the courage to walk alone when needed, trusting that your wholeness is enough. You don't have to keep repeating the same patterns, but you do have to see them. Until you embrace your wound, your pain, your hurt, your sadness, you will keep looking for someone to fix it for you. You'll try to find someone who can silence that pain, who can fill the empty parts inside, but no one else can do this for you. Until you recognize your shadow, the parts of yourself you hide, deny, or dislike, you will keep fighting those parts in others. You'll argue, blame, or push away the very qualities you refuse to accept inside yourself. True freedom starts not with someone else. It starts with your own willingness to look inside. When you do, you will see. There is no enemy there. There is only you. And you are worthy of mature, real love. Love that accepts all of who you are, not just the good parts, but the whole story. Love that doesn't run away when things get hard, but stays, grows, and heals. This is the love you deserve, and it begins with you. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to see and accept yourself. When you do, you stop running from your past. You stop repeating the same hurts. You start living differently. You start choosing relationships that bring peace, growth, and joy. You start sharing love not as a way to avoid pain, but as a true gift. The road to freedom may be challenging, but it's the most important journey you can take, because it leads you home, to yourself. And from there, everything else follows.